What's up, everybody? This is Warren Ballentine, aka WB, and welcome to Common Ground, where we try to find solutions to problems. We don't try to blame people, we don't point fingers. We try to find solutions. We treat people as humans, and we always try to learn. And today on Common Ground, we're talking about purpose meeting action at a young age, and not in theory, in real life, in real communities. Our guest is Dr. Dorothy Jean Tillman II, founder and CEO of Dorothy Genius STEAM Leadership Institute. She don't call it STEM, she calls it STEAM, y'all. Some people know her as DJ, some know her as Dorothy Genius, but everyone should know what she's building. She's earned her doctorate as a teenager. Let me repeat that. She earned her doctorate degree as a teenager. I thought I was doing something getting a doctorate degree at 20. She did it as a teenager. Not to chase headlines, but to come back and pour into kids, families, and neighborhoods that get overlooked. She's creating spaces where learning, creativity, mental wellness, and leadership all sit at the same table. From her STEAM, not STEM, STEAM labs to community watch days, from toy giveaways to conversations about mental health and nutrition. This isn't being impressive. This isn't about being impressive for her. This is about intention. Dr. Tillman is showing what leadership looks like. And, I'm just going to say this. I'm calling you Dr. J, Dr. DJ. Dr. DJ, welcome to Common Ground.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about everything, because I want to start off with you earning your doctorate at an age when most kids are still figuring themselves out. What grounded you through that process?
I think, there was a lot of points throughout that process where I can honestly say I wasn't genuinely grounded. And I think it it pushed me into strengthening my faith. I think, things will either push you and make you better or they'll push you and they'll break you. And obviously, over time, I needed something to ground me more so. And that thing that I found and clung on to for me was faith. I'm a Baptist Christian, and that's what works for me. I feel like when it comes to faith, people should believe in what makes them feel most at peace in this world. Like, of course, I believe in Jesus and the Holy Spirit and the Lord and the things that He created, but I believe in other people believing what makes this earthly plane the most livable.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I think faith is a big thing in all things that we do, because we can make the plan, but Jesus has already laid the path for us. We
Very
can talk
much.
about what we gonna do, but it's already been written in the book of life, certain things that we are gonna do, whether we choose to do it or not. He's gonna make it, but we doing it.
Very. I know that there are moments like, what's going on, Jesus? Can we talk? Like, but your Jesus' plan isn't dictated by your urgency. And, I think as a person with anxiety, it's comforting that it says in the text and in the Bible that we shouldn't be focusing all ahead of time, all the time, trying to figure out what's next and what's this 5-year plan, 10-year plan. It doesn't mean don't plan. It doesn't mean don't work through things. It just means don't get so ahead of yourself that, you push yourself into anxious states for things you can't control.
Let me ask you this, because the word prodigy, a lot of people hear that word and they hear pressure when they hear that word. I think about, I have a daughter right now that's in law school, and as she was going through school, she was always trying to compare with me. And I was just like, no, don't compare with me. Compare with yourself. You don't have to try to do what I'm doing. Do what you want to do and compare with yourself. But she felt this pressure. And I was always telling her, Bree, it's no pressure. You be your own self. You be your own person. No matter what you do, I'm going to support you and love you. When you are a prodigy, that's even 100 times more pressure. And so, how was it growing up as a prodigy and that pressure for you?
I think, when it comes to being a prodigy, something that I'm starting to learn and more so shift my focus on and make my main focus is nothing in life should be what defines us. Like, oh, I'm not depressed. I am not depression. I am the person that's feeling depression. I am the person that is feeling anxiety or sadness or joy. At the end of the day, I'm not those things. Even if it's a label given to you by the world that may be positive, it's similar to, like model minority stereotypes. Like, it still is putting you in a box.
Right.
And you're the only one who gets to define who you are. As long as what you're doing in this world isn't hurting anyone or yourself, and it is, bringing something to this world, that is what's most important. And I think that for me, when it comes to being a prodigy, I think it's just most important not to attach to that so much because that's already a term that's used for young people. And I think as a young person growing into a young adult, you have to be careful and balance certain things, certain conversations, certain energies, certain thoughts as to not open yourself up to different adult mental health issues and different things. Okay. Before you may had anxiety of feeling expectations or like you had to do this thing and another thing and another thing. But then it may turn into a feeling of, okay, but you're only as good as your last hit. Like
Right.
before it was like, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Right.
And then it's like, when will you ever stop? When will you ever take a moment and a break for yourself? So I think for me, when it comes to being a prodigy, I take the term, like, thankfully, I kinda take it as a compliment, like, as if somebody was saying, "My shirt is nice," like, versus if somebody's saying I'm pretty. Now that's a fact. That's can't take away my face, but my shirt, something I bought, something I got at the store,
Right.
I could take off the shirt. It doesn't make me, me.
I'm glad that you are saying this because I just had a conversation literally yesterday. I was at the gym with my trainer and he's younger. He's 22 years old and we were talking about, he's about to graduate from college and stuff like that. And I was like, "Hey, I'm going to give you the best advice in the world right now." I was like, "No matter what you do in this life, take the time to enjoy what you're doing." I was like, because I didn't do that. Everything was go, 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 go. And now that I look back at life, I'm like, I had all these experiences. I'm all in the White House and I'm all in China and all these other places. And I never took the time to just look where I was at and enjoy it. So I'm
There
glad
is
you said
something
that.
about Yeah. That's actually me and my mom, I'm trying to convince her to get a tattoo with me, and that's the next tattoo I kinda wanna get, is one that just says, "You are here," with a little pin drop,
Hmm.
because you're here in this moment, you're here wherever you are here in the right now. Living in the past is depression, and living in the future is anxiety. You have to be in whatever your current moment is, and that's definitely something that becomes hard for college students, and it's something that I had to learn time and time again. Like I'll graduate and then I will push myself. You have to do the next thing. You have to try hard. You have to work hard. You have to continue. Or now it's time to get a job. Now it's time to do this or that or the third. Never really taking time to enjoy my experience. Never really taking time to breathe it in and just like look around at the things that I've done and reminisce and really reach into my memory, not just look at pictures that jog my memory or not just say, oh, tell a story, whatever it may be like, but actually sit in the midst of whatever it is that I've accomplished. Like, I think I just joined with my sorority recently, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, the Delta Sigma Chicago alumni chapter. And when it comes to joining a sorority, there are a lot of things that are go, go, go. You got to do the presentation. Okay, there's these gifts and things are on a time schedule and different things like that. And you may not always get to take a moment for yourself in the moment, but it's important. You have to make time and find the time. The same way if a person you love came to you, like it always comes back down to treat yourself like a person that you love. Like if someone came to you with big news and my best friend became a CNA a couple months ago, it's like I'm gonna take a moment for that. Like I'm gonna be like, congratulations. I'm going to be like, do you want anything? Do you want to go to dinner? Do you want a cake? Like we can do that. Or sometimes don't ask. You just do. Like, and it's about taking the moment to just take care of yourself the way you take care of others. Because a lot of the times we're already capable of doing whatever the thing is. It's just that there's like a mental block of doing it for ourselves.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I like you more and more already. You're a part of the Divine Nine, and you also got the Sigma love, as you can see this Phi Beta Sigma brand right here. So I'm gonna give you mad love for that too, because I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma. But I want to switch gears now and talk about the institute itself. You started this institute. Why start it at such a young age? Why start it now instead of later?
Honestly, I think, since we're being vulnerable, I can go based off the conversation we're already having. It segues kind of perfectly because I think there was a lot of an energy of go, 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 do, do, do. Like
Hmm.
outside of, the what I give everybody and what I do genuinely feel about our mission statement and things like that, we want to lead by examples of excellence and show people that you don't have to be a certain age to do something. You don't have to just do STEM or just do arts. They don't have to be separate. We wanted to create resources for youth under that umbrella of STEAM and not just STEM so that we could, okay, whatever you need, let's do it. Let's figure it out together. Let's build together. And I think that also partially that was coming from a place of I felt like I wanted to keep going and keep pushing forward. And this past summer was actually the 6th year of my company. D I definitely am getting to that point where it's like, "Okay, let me, take a break, do things a little different and take a moment," because I can acknowledge that it though was my energy behind it and my focus behind it was making sure that youth and that my peers have resources and know that they're supported under that lens of STEAM and that they are leaders. Not that they can become leaders, but that there are many things about them that are just untapped. And it's not because they don't love themselves, they aren't working hard enough, they aren't doing the right things. It might just be because they don't have the support system. And I want to be that. I love people, I love community, I love my friends and my family. And that is what the Dorothy Jean Leadership Institute is. And I think that even if originally, it had to be that keep going energy for me behind it, the people that I ended up on board meeting through working together made it a place where I don't get as tired. Anything is tiresome when you're doing anything. You're working, you're talking, even this may be tiresome because I'm spending energy, but it's worth it and it's enjoyable. And even it's like sometimes the thing like when you enjoy what you do, the
Hmm.
things that drink still bring you energy. Like the people that I'm around, they're still bringing me energy, the ideas, the things. I'm always getting a second wind when I leave work, like just talking about the things that we've done. And so, overall, I think there was that energy of I have to do something with my talents and my degrees and my intelligence and my resources. My family has this theater and there's a space and I have these ideas. And to have an idea is in itself to have an idea and to know pathways towards doing something with that, like use that. Like that's a resource. You use it. And so that is what encouraged me, but I think what keeps me going to this day is the team and the youth that I have ended up working with, the ones that come as campers, the 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds who are just, sweet and full of life and easy to teach because they want to learn,
Yeah.
and the teens and young adults who are much older and maybe more jaded by the world, who I can still show what it's like to be loved genuinely and purely and supported professionally and socially. So yeah.
Let me ask you this: why is STEM so important to you? And I love the fact that you calling it STEAM because STEAM, it literally moves the engine that can move you
Mhm.
forward. So I love that. But why is this so important to you as a person?
To me, as a person, the STEAM aspect is important because my whole family are creatives. At heart, I am a creative. I love poetry. I write tons of poetry and I've done plays all growing up with my family in the theater. My uncle is a music producer and plays every instrument. Like all of the different people in my family do so many different artistic things. So it's kind of in our DNA. And I think probably from my dad's side, he's the more analytical person, type. And that's where I get that energy from and that ravenous, need for academia and the things that come along with that. And they kind of just mesh together. I feel like it's very just natural for me. I'm very in touch with who I am as a person and I know and love myself fully. And so I think I wanted to bridge both of those things. Being homeschooled, I would always be in programs like NSBE and 100 Black Men, like programs in pitch competition. And those were incredible programs, but they were very analytical. They were very like straight line, left brain. And I wanted more of that creativity. I didn't want those two worlds to be so starkly separated the way they were for me. Like I would go here and I would do this, and I would go to theater and I would do this. And I'm like, we don't have to do that. And, I'm used to saying things don't have to be that way and then not doing things that way. And that is what I think inspires me and continues to inspire me to keep going, is that I enjoy being a trailblazer. I enjoy creating a team of trailblazers and trailblazing together.
I love that you said, "Oh yeah, this is the left brain part of it. This is the right brain." No, most people don't realize that their brain have these two separate lanes that they kind of work in, and you gotta have an intersection so you can have that balance. And most people do not realize that. And for
No
you to be
intersection, you're
saying
gonna get
that,
a lot of traffic. You're
they,
gonna
they,
get a lot of a lot of traffic.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I love the fact that you said looking in the past is depression, looking in the future is anxiety. I love that as well. But I also love the fact you guys are doing so many wonderful things. You do a community free watch day, right?
Yes.
And you go to the people instead of
Yeah.
having the people come to you. Let's talk a little bit about that. Why go to the people? It's almost like the church needs to take and look at what you guys are doing and do the same thing with the church. Bring it to the people.
Like sometimes the guy on the corner telling you, you need Jesus. You
Yeah.
need Jesus. He ain't wrong. He ain't
Yep.
wrong. Sometimes they got to bring church to you. Maybe the delivery, but
Yeah.
I think it is just that idea of bringing church to a person. Like I'm always the type to send somebody like, hey, we got the online service now ever since COVID, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, whatever. Like check out Liberty Baptist Church. And I think when it comes to like, it only makes sense to me that you would go to a person's community to work with them. It's kind of like a situation, it's like The Godfather. If you're having a business meeting with somebody, out of respect, go to their turf. Like go to their space, in their place where they're comfortable, because how will you ever genuinely see what it is that they want worked on if you're not there? Like if you go and you have a meeting on the beach about the lake, like, and you're at the river, you're going to be a little like put off. Like we're at the river, you're talking about the lake, and those are different things. And I feel like it's just kind of been first mind to me personally and only made the most sense. I think that there's a point that you get to where you build community relationships and people are willing to come to you. I've seen that for years working and growing up in the cultural center, in the way that, our elders come and they respect the space. The Red Hatters, they come and they sell out all of the shows. When you do things for people, they notice. When you're not doing things with any sort of intention, people who, are looking through a positive lens are going to see it. And even if they're looking through a negative lens, you just continue doing what you're doing, and eventually God will change their heart. Like the universe will change their spirit. Whatever it may be, I just feel like it makes the most sense to do what makes, the people who are in an uncomfortable situation more comfortable, and anything else can be thought about or talked about later.
Let me ask you this, because you with this event, you also deal with nutrition and mental wellness. Why tie that into what this event is as far as going to the laundromat? Why tie that in? Because it's
Because
important. I know why, but I want the listeners to understand
I
why.
know our communities get targeted.
Yeah.
You can be on 100 and something, on 90 and something, and the bus isn't going to come in the same way that it's going to come when you're on Clark. It's not going to come in the same way where it's going to come when you're on Zero State Street.
Yep.
It's disproportionate. People can have different conversations all day about why that may be. I would just rather work to change it. Like, not to say that I don't think it's important to dive deep, but sometimes I don't think it's the most productive or what we need to do the most of. Like, because as intellectuals, as community members, we have these conversations. Like, we talk like this, like how we're talking right now, to our people on a regular basis. And that's why it's easy and that's why it flows. And I feel like it's important. Wait, remind me of the question, because I lost my thought a little bit.
About talking about nutrition and mental
Yes. Well,
health.
so yeah, it becomes a thing where the produce that they send to the same grocery store on the south side isn't the same as the produce they send to the same Mariana, same Jewels on the north side. And that's not correct. Everybody Like, I think that, that everybody having that same level, being on that same stool, if anybody has seen that graph of people looking over a fence,
Right.
and it's not
Right.
about your height, it's not about the height of the stool, it's about that your height and the height of the stool,
You want
everybody being
you want equity, not equality, because you want that
exactly.
you want enough equity to be able to see over the fence. Because if you give me equality, if I'm shorter than you, I still can't see over the fence.
Exactly. And so when there are situations already in place, you know, transportation and different things like that, you don't want people to be displaced furthermore because nobody is looking out for them. Sometimes us in the Black community in general, it doesn't even matter if we assimilate and go somewhere else into more affluent areas. We still may have epigenetic mental health issues ingrained in us from our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, just back to back to back, family members, cousins, peers. And it's important to work against that. It's important to have conversations, make people understand. Like, the thing I always love to say is going to therapy isn't about something being wrong with you. It's about having a partner to help you mentally compartmentalize. Like, there are a billion files going on in our brain. We're overworked by the world. It's hard to get to a place where you don't have to do anything, where you can make money in your sleep. It takes a level of work to get there. And so while you're on that grind and that hustle, you have to still manage your emotions. Think even like, of course, our Black community, but also just the youth in general have normalized the hustle and the struggle and the haste and things like that. And that isn't what we're meant to be doing as humans. We're meant to be at peace and we're meant to have those things. And though we may be in a place in the world where we can't do that easily, I want to try and, do anything I can to chip away at that block. And I think that not only, we're going to sit here and talk, listen to music, whatever, wash our laundry anyway. Let's talk about what, we're eating and what we could be doing better and different things like that, because it's easy. Like, it's hard because it's set up that way, but it's easy when there's somebody there to talk to you about it, there to give you the insight that they have. You can give them the insight you have. It's always about learning from each other. And so I think that when like when it comes to that equity with our communities being displaced at times is just important to, build up their schools, making sure they have those same resources, pieces of knowledge, scholarly articles, and not just, the social media things, the things that are shoved down our throat and put in our face.
For everybody who's listening on SiriusXM, she brought up a lot of things about Chicago, and I want to kind of just break this down for you guys because it really is. Chicago is the most segregated city I've ever lived in my life. I grew up in Chicago, but I've lived all over the world. It's the most segregated city I've ever been in my life, even more so than in the South. And it is two Chicagos, to be honest with you, because I always tell people I grew up in Inglewood. I went to Lindblom for high school. Once I became an attorney and started making some money, I lived down on Michigan Avenue. It was two different worlds.
Because
It's two different
In the
worlds.
South side, you like in the South, the America, it'll be like the people in the same neighborhood in the same neighborhood. People in the
Yep.
same neighborhood. It's not about, that segregation of it all. But, back when my granny, I'm her namesake,
Yep.
was doing her early works, that's what she was working against. And those are
And
issues
look,
to feel.
your granny. Let me tell you something. Your granny would be proud of you because I knew your granny. I, as a young person, as your age, I was helping her. I was on the radio talking about everybody vote for her, do what she telling us to do,
Yep.
because your granny was about literally bringing people together and helping people excel. And she didn't care if
Yes.
you was a good person and you wanted to work. Come on, baby. Come on over
She
here,
was
baby.
genuinely about the Dr. King, the Dr. Martin Luther King
Yep.
Jr. It's not about the content, it's not about the color of skin. It's content
Yep.
of character. And
Yep.
that's what's most important. Like, of course, knowledge and having conversations about different things that, different communities may not have perspectives on. That's important. But at the end of the day, it's important to go into things looking to see, like, is this a good person? It's easy when you experience racism to become prejudiced.
Right.
And it's important to work against that. It's important to not become jaded by the world, to not let the things that you go through in this world take your joy and take your peace, your kindness, because you're only gonna be affected by that. That's just an infinity line of your own world.
Yeah, I was on WGCI V103. Just talk. Hey, y'all better listen to Dorothy Tillman. You better do what she telling us to do. This is the only person fighting for us. Now, look, before we get out of here, I got to say this again. I know your grandma is proud looking at you right now, and just you are doing a great thing as a namesake. Before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can follow you. Tell them how they can find out about the institution, how they can sign up, how they can participate. Give us all the details right quick.
Yes. So all of my social medias are Dorothy Genius, and that's Jeanius, and Dorothy with two O's, Doro. And so that's my Facebook, my Instagram, and everything, my website, including, and that's where you can go to find all of the information about how to support us and our phone number and things like that. Coming up this Saturday, we have an event, a toy giveaway. So bring out your kids to 4701 South King Drive if you're local to Chicago and, come have a good time with us.
I'm gonna call you Dr. DJ. I'm not just gonna call you DJ because I'm gonna put some respect on that name, the doctor in front of it, the Dr. DJ. Look, I'm gonna tell you, you are so impressive. You are doing so many wonderful things in the community. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making all of us proud. You really are. Thank you so much for being with us on Common Ground. We'll be back with more right here on Common Ground.